Welcome back to the channel. Hope you guys are doing well. In this video, we're gonna do some extensive testing and review all the new items we're getting in the upcoming Battle Pass. But before we start, I made a little oopsie and I do have to apologize. So in yesterday's video, I showed you guys the reward for the upcoming event pass called the Slipstream. Well, this morning, Alex was upset with me because I was not allowed to share that. He was like, JB, what the F, man? He didn't say that, but you know, he was upset. So apologies, Starjump people, Alex. It won't happen again. It was 100% my fault and I should have read the message. Now, usually what happens is when the developers are done with their RU stream and their NA stream, they give us, the creators, access to a special test server to try out all the new stuff and make videos on. Now, you know, I've been doing this for years, so usually I just grab the file, but yesterday I did everything in a rush. So I was streaming, I just updated the Crossout folder, went to pick up my son from school and started making videos. I did not read the message he said that we are not allowed to share the event pass stuff and some extra stuff that we're also getting. So once the update is live and I'm allowed to share, I'll give you details on the extra stuff that we're getting. Now, before we continue on with the testing and the review of the items, I have a question for you guys. What do you guys prefer? Do you guys just want one long video with all the details inside? And I'll make sure this time to have timestamps so it's easier for you guys. Or do you guys prefer 3 or 4 separate videos on each individual item? Let me know in the comment section down below, because personally for me, I like making these long form videos because it's just faster and easier for me. And usually when I watch videos, I watch all videos on 2x speed because it saves me a lot of time. So please let me know your preference in the comment section down below and I'll adjust. Now, one of the things that was discussed a lot in my comment section was this new bumper that we're getting, the Jingasa. I said it was from the MR2, but a lot of people told me it was from the Fair Lady Z. Let's find out. All right, now over here, we have a Fair Lady Z S30. You also got a different image over here. And to me, the bumper looks nothing like this. Let's take another angle. This one has the holes inside. This one has some covers, some plastic covers, but it still doesn't look like the bumper that we have in game. But if you look at the Toyota MR2, immediately resemble the bumper that we have in the game. I mean, look at the front section over here. It's the same as over here. I mean, look at the headlights. Exactly the same. The only part that's missing is the bottom piece of the bumper. This is another angle. Look at the soft top and the taillights. Same thing in game. All I added was a spoiler because it looked kind of naked without a spoiler. Now, with that out of the way, let's get down to business. A lot of you guys asked me to try out the new engine with the Omni wheels to see if the perk would work, and it does. It actually works with a lot more movement parts than they described. See, now the perk is active. You see the little blue exhaust. Wow. Reverse is extremely fast, changing direction is extremely fast, but we ran out of juice there. So right now, if we change direction, it's a bit slow. It might be hard to see in a video, but I do feel it. Let's activate it again. I think we hit the wall too hard, but yeah. You might not be able to see it, but you feel it, if that makes sense. Now, something that I did discover today is the engine does not really have a movement part limit. It basically has a speed limit. So you need to reach at least 70 kilometers per hour and then drop down to 0 before the perk can activate. If you go slower than that, the perk won't activate. Let me show you guys a couple of examples. Right now, I'm using the same build, but with small tracks, and the perk will work. Let me just hit this wall right here, not too hard. And there we go, perk is active. You see the blue exhaust, and reverse is immediately faster, and the build is also a lot more responsive. It is hard to show you guys, but I do feel it. Let me just hit the wall again. There we go. We got the speed boost. And now we can reverse a lot faster and get the heck out of Dodge. Again, you guys might not see it, but you do feel it. And if you guys were wondering if it worked with the robotic legs or the bipedal legs, well, it works. It's just that with the robot legs, it's a little bit trickier or harder to feel because the forward speed is the same as the reverse speed, same as the strafing speed, and all direction. Actually, strafing is a little bit slower, so maybe I'll feel a difference there. But going forward is the same as going backwards. It's very fast and very responsive. So let's hit a wall, and you'll see that the perk will activate. Boom, perk is active. Sideways feels slightly faster. Just changing directions feels a lot more responsive when you have this engine's perk active. What I want to try next is to see if we get the perk using the dash. Nope, we don't. I believe you need to reach a minimum top speed to get the perk active. Yeah, no, it won't work. So you need to go at least 70 kilometers per hour, but how low do we need to go to get the perk? No, that doesn't work. All right, let me try something else. Let's just go to a complete stop. Okay, and it works. Yeah, we instantly reverse. So it does work with the mechanical legs. It's just that you don't really feel the difference compared to the other movement parts. It also works with hovers. I think this engine is going to be very popular with hovers, but for some reason it won't always activate. There we go, it activated. We can immediately reverse, go forward immediately, just kind of wild, and then go back and just move around all flexible, which is kind of neat. I'm not sure in which scenario you will be able to use that. I wonder if it will work if, let's say you're moving around, but suddenly a fire dog ran. You see, it didn't activate back then. I don't know why it does not happen all the time. You can immediately reverse, go left, get the heck out of here really quick. So it does feel great. You might not be able to see it, but you do feel it. I'm gonna say that a lot, but that's really the only way I can explain it. And if you guys were wondering, it also works on Bigrams, but not when you're in mechanical leg mode, because as I mentioned, you need to go at least 70 kilometers per hour for the perk to activate. So right now it doesn't, but if you switch modes and you hit the wall right now, as long as we reach 70, we get the perk and we can immediately reverse. Look at that top speed. And what you can also do is you can hit the wall. Let's make it reload. You can hit the wall and immediately switch to leg mode and still have the perk. There we go. And your movement feels a lot smoother. So it does work with Bigram legs as well. Now, unfortunately, it does not work with the Gorilla legs because, as you all know, the Gorilla's top speed got nerfed and we're just under that 70 kilometers per hour. I think that's why they did it, so that Gorilla builds maybe not get a speed boost like that. So if you hit a wall right now, top speed is only 65, so you do not get the perk. Now, the way I came up with the number 70 kilometers per hour is just by hitting the wall at different speeds and see if we get the perk. Okay, we're a little bit closer to the wall. We are reloaded. We got 50 and we didn't get it. Let's move back a little bit. We got 65 over there, but we didn't get it. Let's move back a little bit more. We reached 70 and then we get it. So that's how I got the number. I did not slow down the footage, but I'm assuming it's 70. So even though they mentioned for this Oyabun engine that the reverse speed of wheels increases by 80%, it doesn't just work on wheels. It works on all movement parts as long as you can get up to 70 kilometers per hour. And as always with the Syndicate faction, in the beginning, I'm gonna suck with the names, but in time, I'll get used to them and I'll remember them. Now, let's take a look at the new Nemesis Plasma Emitter. Third rotation speed is pretty good for a weapon this size. I mean, it moves around pretty quick if you ask me. Look at that, beautiful. Gun elevation seems pretty good. Gun depression is also pretty solid. This plasma emitter is not 100% accurate. As you guys can see, there is quite a bit of spread even when it's doing the slow firing mode. We are now going to take a look at the damage number. We have a fully charged Nemesis and you'll find the damage results very interesting. So when the perk is active with everything going on for it, it does 1261 damage. Now I want you guys to keep an eye on the damage number. We're gonna shoot at the damage sphere without the perk. And you'll see that the Prometheus 5 actually does way more damage than this thing in the normal firing mode. So right now we deal 873 damage without the perk active. If we swap this out for a Prometheus 5 and repeat the same test, we'll get slightly more damage. So with the Prometheus 5, we deal 896 damage, and with the Nemesis, it was 873 damage. Now, I cannot do the same test with the Helios because the Helios has a special perk which does not work on the damage sphere, unfortunately. I'll have to try it out on my Leviathan, but I still want to see the damage numbers and share it with you guys. So we deal 769 damage with the Helios. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to see how long this damage sphere is active, and then I'm going to fire at my Leviathan over there and do the math and see how much damage we deal in total. So that was pretty interesting to me. The main thing the Nemesis has going for it is its durability and the perk. With a perk like this, you can get out of cover, unload on the enemy, and hit back into cover and recharge, which is kind of powerful if you ask me. And if you use triple Nemesis on a damage sphere with a power unit, ooh, that's very nice. Let's see how much damage we can deal before the timer resets on the damage sphere. 4,074. That's not too shabby. Now let's move on to the new grenade launcher, the Imugi. The Imugi's third rotation speed is not the fastest in the world. So if you're gonna run it on a fast build, you might want to install a oppressor engine just to get some extra third rotation speed and projectile speed as well. Gun elevation seems pretty good. Gun depression is not the best, but it really doesn't matter for a weapon like this. Somebody also asked me to check if I could flip the weapon to mount it under your belt, and it seems that you cannot. You cannot even mount it on the side. That's unfortunate. I think they're trying to prevent another Yongwang situation. Now we're gonna check out the reload speed of this new grenade launcher. The default reload speed is quite long, but what if you use a Cyclops, a Hadron, and a Kingmine? That's not too shabby. Now in the developer stream, they told you that you can basically set up traps or booby traps for your enemies with this new grenade launcher. So you can basically drive somewhere, set up the traps, and then just drive away. But the problem is they don't stick to the ground if they're not attached to an enemy build. They just, you know, slide all over the place. So, I mean, it could kind of work, but they also explode very fast. I'll have a timer up for you guys so you guys can see how long it took before they self-detonated. Also, the Yongwang grenades are round. These are an actual grenade shape. Kind of cool. One volley of these grenades can deal 492 damage. With the Harpy cabin, you can boost the explosion radius, not the damage. But with cabins like the Catalina or the Cockpit or the new cabin, the new legendary cabin, you can get slightly more damage. Now we're gonna move on to the Fukibari crossbow. This weapon is classified as a crossbow and not an energy weapon, so the photon cabin won't work on this, even though it does heating damage. And just like all the other crossbows, these are pretty accurate, man. These are very accurate. They do have a slight spread sometimes, but the velocity is really high on these. And that damage number is also pretty nice. The third rotation speed is also not extremely fast, but it's better than the grenade launcher. It's actually not too bad. Gun elevation seems very similar to the Nemesis. Man, reload seems really fast as well. And the gun depression is also pretty good. As you saw, the reload speed with the Hadron cabin is incredibly quick. And the default reload speed is quite long. What a big difference. Yeah, the default reload speed is quite long. Now, before I forget, I'm using the upgraded one from the Battle Pass. For the grenade launcher, I was using a default one, so non-upgraded. And like I mentioned in yesterday's video, this weapon is going to be good at high durability parts, like cabins and high durability structural parts and weapons. But the base damage itself is not really incredible. For example, if you shoot one of these structural parts, these are pretty strong. These are the Founder's parts. They only destroy that part. They don't have any other penetration or explosion. So on structural parts, it's not really gonna be the best thing in the world. Let me try again. Yeah, the damage is pretty low. But if you're up against a lot of bricks and they have their cabin exposed, you can actually deal a ton of damage to them. Basically kind of like a destructor. The target stays heated and then you can do another follow-up shot. So these are going to be really good against bricks or just builds that have their cabin exposed. Even if you mount 3 on your build and you shoot structural parts, you won't deal as much damage compared to when you shoot a cabin. Look at that. Damage goes up incredibly fast. And now that it's heated, it's going to go even higher. So I think these are going to be quite good. They're basically going to be a counter against a specific build or weapon. Next up, we're going to take a look at the Punji. Now, the one question I had in the comment section is to check out how you can make this reload faster, because it is called a autonomous weapon, but it is also a turret. So by default, we start with 10 Punjis. So if we add a micro factory to this build, we should get extra ammunition, and we do. We get 3 extra Punjis. One cool thing about the Punjis, if you mount them like this, 2 on the left, 2 on the right, you can actually make a pretty nasty barrier. If you drive past, let's say, an opening, they'll have to go through 4 of the barriers, which is going to be pretty nasty for them. I'm going to detonate them, and I'm going to show you guys the default reload. because the Hadron cabin does not boost the reload, unfortunately, but it can be boosted with the Cheetah engine, which I have in front, but you need to be driving to boost the reload. I'm gonna deploy them again and detonate them. And now we're gonna drive. See the Cheetah's engine perk? It will help with the boost of the reload of our Punjis. So these are autonomous drones and the reload is affected by the Cheetah engine and not the Hadron cabin, which is a little bit confusing. And just to double check, I'm gonna swap out this cabin for a different one, and I'm gonna test out the reload again. Why won't it fit? For this test again, we are using a default Punji and not the one from the Battle Pass because I only have access to one. So I'll deploy it and then detonate it, and we should have the same reload as when we were using the Hadron cabin and the King and the Cyclops. Now, I cannot do all the tests yet with the Punji. For example, I want to know how much durability the poles have and if you can ram them as an enemy to destroy the laser beam. But what I can test is to see if one Punji deals the same amount of damage to a build than when you have 4 Punjis. So this is one Punji. We're gonna check out the damage. Damage is already a lot lower than yesterday, but we'll see how much damage it can do maximum. That's not bad for one Punji. The guy really has to stay there or he needs to be a nugget. That's not too shabby. That's not too shabby. Okay, now we're gonna do the same thing, but instead of 1, we're gonna be using 4 Punjis to see if the damage is more. So I just saw something interesting. So check out the Punjis right now. I think the reason I was not dealing as much damage, you can see the poles are connected to each other. So if I do this, they're gonna connect to each other. I thought they were gonna connect to the other side, but if I do this, only one beam connects, which is very interesting. So that's why we were not dealing as much damage. We were dealing slightly more damage, but not by a whole lot. You deal way more damage if individual Punjis hit the target. So I'm gonna attempt. So right now we got 1, 2, 3 beams going inside of him. 5. Yeah, we deal way more damage now. Okay, that's interesting. That's actually kind of cool. So the more beams he needs to pass, the more devastating the result. Ah, yeah, look at that. Now we're seeing some damage numbers. Okay, okay. You're really gonna have to play around with how you mount them and your inputs for the buttons. I wish Crossout would increase the amount of buttons we can input for different weapons, because as you saw, having them separate actually is more beneficial. Unless, hold on, let me try something else. You can also try something like this. Place one here and then another one here. And then he'll have to go to 3 of them, which is still pretty effective. Oh my god, you can place more. And now we'll have to go to, oh my god. Oh, this is deadly. Reminds me of Resident Evil. If someone has to drive through all of this, oh man. And oh my god. Someone mentioned in the comment section that we should make, or I should make a dragger and drag them into the Punjis. So the fastest way I can do it is this. Oh, that's cool. Oh, these are gonna be gnarly. All right, check this out. So basically you can drive away and do this. Yeah, come through that, bad guys. And then imagine if I have a dragger, a skinner, and just pull the enemy right back in the Punjis. Oh man, that's gonna be devastating. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 beams. He needs to go through 7 beams. Oh man, yeah, these are gonna be fun. These are gonna be quite fun. One more thing I need to test is to see how long the Punjis stay active as a trap. And guys, before I forget to show you guys, this new cabin's engine sound is chef's kiss. The turbo blow-off valve goes. Listen to this. Oh, did you hear that? Ah, haha, so good. Alright, I think that's all the testing I can do with the new engine and the new weapons. The new cabin and the wheel are pretty self-explanatory. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you guys found this video informative. If you did, I hope I earned a like and a subscription to the channel. If you guys want to see more, you can click on one of these two videos over here, and I'll see you there in a minute. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Peace.